And more to the point, Mr. and Mrs. General Public won't be won over. You can try to win them by toning down the strength of our message, wrapping it up in cotton wool, and you'll find yourself against exactly the same barriers as before. Jobs, careers, salaries, mortgages on the house, new car in the driveway, the school fees for the kids, the ion promotion in the company, the concern about one's social position. Your prospect, your would-be recruit, is being asked to take a very big step. A step across the Rubicon, if you like. He is being asked to get involved with an unconventional political movement, a political cause. A political cause that's represented as extreme, as evil, as beyond the pale by the media. And he considers that prospect, as he considers it, all these things, career promotion, the house, the wife, the family, security, social position, they all flash across his mind. To him, it's a frightening jump. Now, it isn't the fact that he believes all this nonsense. He doesn't believe we're evil. But as long as his peers at work and in local society, they are thought to have that vision of us, he will be deterred from taking part, and it will need courage to get him to take part. It is his perception of peer pressure, of the need to conform, and that is what we're up against. It's a frightening jump. Now, my point is this. If this person is not yet ready to take that jump, not all the softening up, not all the compromising, not all the trimming in the world is going to persuade him. He may trot out for your benefit the excuse that your ideas are too extreme. If you come back a year later and present those ideas in a much milder form, he'll still find them too extreme. He'll still find an excuse not to get involved. What you're up against here is a person whose perception is that we're dangerous people to get involved with because at the moment we are not powerful. So the first lesson is to realize that it's our lack of power, not our so-called extremism. That's the big deterrent. And anyway, what is extremism? At different times across history, extremism has meant different things. Not long ago, here in America, our ideas were perfectly mainstream. Only odd people, marginalized people, extremists, believed in race equality. The older ones among you here will understand this and know and have experienced what I mean. So what has changed since then? Has the truth changed? Is what was true then no longer true now? No. What has changed is power. Power then was in different hands, and that's what we're up against. Those who have the power today, and we know who they are able to determine what is mainstream and respectable and what is extreme. So we have to understand that extremism is a meaningless term. It's entirely what the current makers of public opinion decide it'll be. No more, no less. But, as previous speakers have said, this is changing. It's changing, and more people in your country and ours do not take their orders from the media as to what they will think is extreme and what they think is acceptable politics. And here's where we must recognize something very important. We white patriots must never fall into the trap of accepting or using our enemy's definition of the word extremist, any more than we should accept our enemy's definition of the word racist. These words are enemy inventions, designed to put an end to all discussion, designed to intimidate people. And the moment we start to use them, And especially if we start to view their meanings as the enemy would have us view them, we're fighting the battle on the enemy's ground. We're fighting according to his rules. And we'll be fighting the battle on the enemy's ground and according to the enemy's rules once we start to imagine that we're going to win people over by softening our principles. People simply are not impressed by this. They detect phoniness. And I'm quite sure that the American people, like the British people, have had quite enough of phonies as political leaders. And if you want to operate as a phony, if you want to be a phony, I have news for you. George W. Bush and Tony Blair, they can do it far better than you can, far better than we can. If we try to play the game of being political phonies, they will beat us every time. But my experience back in Britain is that the phonies are on the way out. The phonies are more than ever discredited. What seriously worries mainstream journalists now in Britain, and it may be the case here too, what is sending them frantic is the fact that more and more people are staying away from the polling booths because they have complete contempt for all politicians. Tony Blair, the Conservatives, Bush, Kerry, complete contempt for politicians. So we're not going to score any points by playing at being phonies. People are looking for honest men and women at the head of national affairs. And we must give them those honest leaders, and that is what will make them come with us in the fullness of time. And we must always remember another thing. The people that we're seeking to win over, the mass of the public, are a bit weaker than we are. Not weaker in every way. They include men with great war records, great service records. They include people of courage. But weaker in their political attitudes. This means that it's up to us to infuse them with our strength, something of our strength. Our strength has to rub off on them as we speak to them. For that's the only way we're going to get them to come with us. If we radiate weakness by being anything less than 100% convinced of the rightness of our cause, totally unapologetic about the rightness of our cause, by presenting our ideas to people, if we present our ideas to people in a half-baked way, as if we're apologizing for them, our own uncertainty, our own weakness will communicate itself to the people, and that will justify their weakness to themselves. Anything we do that radiates weakness will vindicate them in their own cowardice, and nothing will be done.